Hey everyone! Welcome back to our Rich Dad, Poor Dad Deep Dive series. We just unpacked Chapter 2 and learned that assets put money in your pocket while liabilities take it out. Now we're going to talk about Chapter 3. Mind your own business. By the end of the video, you'll know how to start building your own financial empire. Let's begin. First idea: mind your own business, build your own empire. Kiyosaki opens the chapter with a direct quote from his rich dad. The problem with most people is they work their whole lives for someone else. He explains that your profession is what you do for a paycheck: doctor, teacher, engineer, salesperson. Your business is what you own, that puts money in your pocket even when you're not working. Most people confuse the two. They say, "I'm in the real estate business," when they're actually just a real estate agent. Or, "I'm in the restaurant business," when they're just a chef working for a chain. Your business is your asset column. Here's an example. Elon Musk didn't become a billionaire by being the best engineer at someone else's company forever. He built Tesla and SpaceX. He minded his own business, building his empire. Many people think their profession are their business, but they aren't. Your business is your asset column. Things that earn you money even when you aren't present. You might be a great employee, but if your paycheck goes to bills, mortgages, and taxes, you're building everyone else's wealth. Kiyosaki says that the rich focus on their asset columns while everyone else focuses on their income statements. This shift, it's liberating. Start by reviewing your finances. What's in your asset column? If it's empty, you're not minding your business. Now, we've reached the second idea. Most people spend their entire lives building someone else's business and wealth. Kiyosaki says the average person works for three entities: the company owner, the government through taxes, and the bank through mortgage and credit cards. Your paycheck is gone before it even hits your account. Rich Dad's advice is, don't work for money. Make money work for you. Kiyosaki points out that every raise, promotion, or overtime hour is still feeding the same system. The more you earn, the more taxes you pay. Think of Amazon warehouse workers compared to Jeff Bezos. The workers build his empire. Bezos built his asset column through stock ownership and other companies, but Amazon warehouse workers only have their job, keeping Jeff Bezos rich. This dynamic isn't just about big corporations. It happens in small businesses too. Many entrepreneurs hire employees and end up paying them well, yet those employees are still building the owner's wealth, not their own. The irony is that even secure government jobs or union positions follow the same pattern: steady paycheck, but no ownership in the system that pays you. Kiyosaki's point is severe. If your income depends entirely on trading your time and skills for someone else's vision, you're not building wealth. You're renting out your life. The real wealth creators are the ones who shift from being a cog in the machine to owning pieces of machines or entire machines. Third idea: your job is only a temporary tool. Use it to buy assets, not liabilities. This is one of the chapter's core strategy and one of the most practical lessons in the whole book. Kiyosaki has his own story. After serving in the Marine Corps, he deliberately took a job selling Xerox copy machines. He actually hated sales at first, but he forced himself to become the top salesman in the office. Why go through that grind? Not for the fancy car or bigger apartment. Every single extra dollar went straight into real estate deals. He bought his first property while still working with selling Xerox copy machines. Over time, the rental income quietly grew until it eventually replaced and then surpassed his salary. That, right there, is minding your own business in action. Kiyosaki introduces the famous cash flow quadrant here, which he expands massively in his later books. Employees and self-employed people trade time for money. Business owners and investors make money work without constant time input. Chapter 3 is the critical bridge. Use the left side of the quadrant, your job, as fuel to build the right side, assets and ownership. Kiyosaki even says, pay yourself first. Before rent, before groceries, the very first transfer or check every month goes directly to your asset column. Make it automatic if you can. Fourth idea, the rich don't climb the corporate ladder, they own the ladder. Kiyosaki contrasts two mindsets. Poor/middle-class mindset, work hard, get promoted, retire with a gold watch. Rich mindset, work hard to acquire assets that eventually let me retire young. He tells the story of his poor dad constantly chasing titles and security. Rich dad constantly buying businesses and real estate. One built a resume, the other built an empire. When you get a raise and immediately buy a bigger house or newer car, you volunteer to stay in the rat race longer. The rich use every raise to buy something that produces income. That's why net worth grows exponentially for some and stays flat or even shrinks for others despite similar starting salaries. Look at teachers, nurses, or public servants who reach the top of their pay scale after 20 to 30 years. They might have a comfortable pension, but they rarely build generational wealth because all their energy went into climbing someone else's ladder instead of building their own. Meanwhile, someone who started side hustles or small investments in their 20s or 30s often ends up with far more options by age 50, even if their main career income was modest. Kiyosaki's message here is crystal clear. The ladder you're climbing only leads to freedom when you own it. Everything else is just a temporary platform to launch from. Fifth idea. Start small. Even a tiny asset column is better than none. Kiyosaki admits he started with almost nothing. His first investment was a $1,800 fixer-upper in Hawaii that cash flowed $25 a month after expenses. A very tiny amount. But he used that proof to buy the next one and the next. He emphasizes, the problem isn't starting small, it's never starting. Fear keeps most people paralyzed. They wait for the perfect deal or enough money. Rich Dad taught, start with whatever you have, learn, and let the assets teach you. Mistakes become your best financial education. One of the biggest traps people fall into is thinking they need thousands or tens of thousands to really start. Kiyosaki destroys that myth. Plant small seeds consistently and let time and compounding do the heavy lifting. A $50 to $100 monthly investment in a broad market ETF can grow into serious money over 10 to 20 years thanks to reinvested dividends and market growth. The key is consistency over perfection. Choose assets that excite you or align with your interests. If you love tech, start with tech stocks or funds. When you enjoy the process, you're far more likely to stick with it through ups and downs. Kiyosaki stresses that passion plus knowledge beats forced investing every time. Start where you're interested, even if it's small, and watch how quickly momentum builds. Sixth idea. Financial freedom is measured by how long your assets can feed you without a job. Chapter 3 ties back to Chapter 2. Wealth isn't how much you make, it's how long you can survive without working. Kiyosaki asks, if you stopped working tomorrow, how many days could you live? Most people answer, 0 to maybe 30 to 60 days max. Rich people answer, their whole life because assets keep them financially free. In the first chapter, he introduces the concept of the rat race, the endless cycle of work. Minding your own business is the exit ramp. Rich Dad made young Robert and Mike calculate how many months their little comic book library business could run without them. That exercise changed how they saw money forever. This metric is so liberating because it flips the script from how much do I earn to how independent am I? A high salary feels secure until the paycheck stops. Then reality hits. But passive income doesn't care if you're on vacation, sick, or pursuing a passion project. Kiyosaki calls this money working for you at its purest. We've reached the seventh idea. The moment you decide to mind your own business, your entire life changes, even while you still have a job. Kiyosaki ends the chapter with one of the most empowering truths in the whole book. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow or make any dramatic moves. You just have to change, starting today, where your focus, attention, and money actually go. The very day you buy your first real asset is the day you stop being only an employee and start becoming an investor and owner. This shift is as much about identity as it is about money. Stop introducing yourself as just "I'm a teacher" or "I'm an accountant." Start owning the bigger picture. I'm an investor who happens to teach/account for now while I build. The language you use literally shapes your reality and decisions. And that's Chapter 3, broken down. Click the like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss Chapter 4, the history of taxes and the power of corporations. See you in the next video.